So here we go. Here we continue. It's always amazing, like staying in the moment, being present, and being present, and being present. And who knows what the next moment will be. You know, it's like I can make a plan that's not going to work. I can have ideas, but if I stay present, it will reveal itself. Like I open my mouth and I start to speak. I don't know what I'm going to say. So that is the practice of staying present, in the sense continuously letting go of what you think is necessary in the moment. No idea, no idea. So one part of Joel's talk caught my eye, as I can say, and it is a very specific little paragraph that I love to share with you. And this is Joel doesn't speak a lot about the miracle, so to speak, but when he does, it's really great. So here's an expression of him in the talk, in the living by the word, from talk 505A. It's a Cape Town talk, so I think it's in South Africa, and so he's sharing this. I'll share it as a PDF. So it's about the word, right? The question is, how do we come to live by the word? Well, that's a good question in this talk. The question is, how do we come to live by the word? And first, of course, we have to know what the word is. So you learn also, Joel says, when you're studying this word, that it says God is not in the whirlwind, but God is in the still small voice. Again, you read, and take care of this, like I'll come back to this. When he uttereth his word, the earth melted. And I checked it out, it's from Psalm 46. So it's great to read Psalm 46. If you need to study a little more, there's a great reference. So when he utters his word, the earth melteth. And so, Joel says, you come to a miracle, really. The miracle that constitutes mystical living. And that is living by the word, not by might, not by power, but by my word, by my spirit. So this is a great part in the talk. You know, he doesn't really elaborate on the idea of when he utters his word, the earth melted, and doesn't give it description here. Later on he does of the word so I'll come back to you, and so to elaborate a little bit on it, because what is this word, living by the word? You have an idea about it, and that's not it. Well, that is something we're going to find out in the talk, of course, but I love to take a look at the references that Joel comes in with, like in a Psalm 46, when he uttereth his voice, the earth melteth. So this is, of course, a real miraculous expression, in the sense that when you see things for what they are, literally the earth melts away. Like when you hear the voice of God, when you pray, like we did in a moment ago in the meditation, when you pray, the release that takes place gives you the experience of a world that is dissolving. Literally, it's like there's a sudden shift into a vertical alignment, into your connection with God, into your direct communication with what is. Like that appears in your consciousness, and it takes care of everything. You know, it's like it takes care of the world as you know it, because it literally dissolves. for a moment in your experience of yourself. So this tells us a lot, it tells us a lot. And one of the things that it tells us is this, is like, we are familiar with, like, in prayer, you do not ask for anything, not for having a sickness being removed, or having more money in the bank, or having a great job, or having a beautiful car, or maybe another wife, or who knows what your wishes are, another man, another mother. But all these things we do not ask, is what Joel tells us over and over. It's like, he does not ask that. You do not ask God that. You do not ask of things of this world. Why is that? Why is that? Because, like, when he utters his voice, when he actually starts to speak to you directly, like directly as an experience for you, you don't want anything else but that. It's like, that is sufficient. My grace suffices. And that's literally true. Like, when you allow that miracle to happen to you, to let this earth dissolve in front of your eyes, because you feel the grace of God, say, showering over you or in you, you don't want anything else. There's not something else you want in that moment that you experience it. So that is why it's so great. So that's also where the simplicity is of awakening. You don't want any of this world, because this world is not a real place. You made it up. It is mesmerism. It is not that. It is not war. It is not disease. It is not disaster. It is not what you think it is. That was just a nightmare. That was just your dream. And now, when in the process of waking up, you see that you don't want any of it as you have seen it, as you describe it. You don't want any of it. But you want that what is given to you, no matter where you find yourself. So coming back then with your feet on the ground, having a grace shower, light shower, you coming into, say, a recognition of this direct communication, even as a glimpse, as a drop of, I always say, like a drop of well-pleasedness, like a drop is sufficient, because a drop is just as total as is everything. It all holds the same experience. So here's your grace experience. In that moment, there's nothing that you want. In that moment, it becomes clear that even though you stand with your feet on the ground, you appear to be in a world, you know that this grace has nothing to do with the place. That's a rhyme even. It's like, the grace doesn't have anything to do with this place. No, but it has everything to do with you. As a child of God, it has everything to do with you as a baby Christ. It has everything to do with that, because you're literally the instrument through which this grace can come to this place. I keep rhyming, I have to stop that. It's like, it keeps running through you into this world. You're standing with your feet on the ground, but you have an experience of grace where you actually are aware of your full communication with every aspect of creation, enjoying it to the fullest, because you see reflections from that everywhere. And you shining this light and this love into this world as you know it, it's like, will change and transform it. That is what is going on. That is what you start to recognize more and more and more. So the greatest confusion then comes with confusing these levels, you could say, like confusing these levels. You think that grace has something to do with this world, in the sense of I'm looking for it in this world and it might come to me in a certain way. Or thinking that you can combine the two, thinking that if you pray enough to God, he will heal. If you do this, like you come into some sort of exchange with God. And this is the thing that we don't do. It's what Joel said to us too. It's like we're not going to ask God for anything in the sense of having something that we think we don't have. No, this is about the recognition that everything is given, that our perfection is guaranteed by God, like he created us perfect. I and my Father are one, and be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. That is taking place in this moment, here, right now, and it's not going to change you. It is already set, it is already done, it is accomplished, it is completely realized. The only thing that you can be waiting for is the acceptance, or to have come to a full acceptance of that in your consciousness. That is all. So recognizing that you don't have to look for it in this place, that you don't have to pray for that, for this place, because it is sufficient that you experience the grace of God. In that, this world changes, not by any other means. Like it changes because it literally starts to melt, because he has uttered his voice in you and you've listened to it. You see this world disappear in front of your eyes, being so fulfilled with the love of God, coming out of the blue in your experience of yourself, but filling you, it's like fulfilling you with purpose, with love, with joy, that has no reflection here on earth, except if it is given by you into this world. So that is an experience we're talking about, and not an understanding. The understanding comes this far, and that is seeing that the world that you see is like the dream that you think you're in, the mesmerism that you think you're surrounded with, has no meaning. So Joel says, like, look beyond it, because it is not what it appears to be. The next step is then, like you could say, like, living by the word is really like this, is like, the word is your holiness. It is your holiness. So that has all the power in the universe in that sense. It's like your holiness is given to you to work through you. So living by the word is living by your holiness. It does it for you. You don't have to make it. You don't have to force it. You just allow it. And here that story, so to speak, the things I just shared with you are coming together because in the moment of your recognition of your holiness, you have enough certainty, in fact, to step aside and let your holiness do the work. And like literally let his voice speak through you. Let his voice melt this earth. Let his voice melt the mesmerism of your, imagination, so you can see beyond it. So that part is your choice, like allowing that to step aside and allowing the grace of God to do the work for you. Coming back to that as your reference point, as your guidance, as your spirit. That makes the change, so to speak. That makes the change. So what needs to be changed? This world does not need to be changed. This world is not what it appears to be. So when I see it right, like when I see it with the eyes of Christ, I see it for what it is. And in that, I see that God's voice has already melted it. So that's a very, say, mystical expression if I say it like this. Like it's not, if it is consumed by fire, so to speak, then it would be the fire of your passion for God that will melt it down. Like your love for God will melt all the mesmerism in your consciousness. That's the only thing that happens. So this is great. So this was just one paragraph, and if you really take a look at it, it's like everything is in there. So all these aspects were very well chosen, and Joel studied a lot of this. You can hear that when you read it, but to actually stand still and take a line and go for it and look it up, like in Psalm 46, for instance. When you read Psalm 46, you suddenly feel like, wow, this appeared just to be a tip of the iceberg. Like I love to read about the voice of God melting this earth, and I love to read that. I recognize that there's the truth in me, but then to have an like incredible abundance of even more in such a beautiful way described, that makes you want to read Psalm 46. So maybe I'm going to do that, just because it is a part of it. Let me do it. Why not? So just to share this as an experience of, so as an expression of what I was experiencing a moment ago when I read it. God, the refuge of his people and conqueror of the nations. To the chief musician, a psalm of the sons of Korah, a song of Alamoth. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling, Selah. There's a river whose stream shall make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her just at the break of dawn. The nations raged, the kingdoms were moved. He uttereth his voice. The earth melted. Here it is then. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Come, behold the works of the Lord, who has made desolations in the earth. He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spears in two. He burns the chariots in the fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted in the earth. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Selah. Well, this is what I mean. It's like, wow, thank you. Oh my God. It's just one little reference. Are you serious? Just one little reference? Just read one line of this psalm and you check out the psalm and you get this like, oh, amazing, amazing. See, this is like, there's abundance all over. Like, what else do I need to hear after this? It's absolutely overwhelming. I can tell you this. It's like absolutely overwhelming. Joel loads us up here with so much of this. He seems to be speaking in just lines of the Bible. No, he studied it. He knows exactly what he's talking about when he uses them. And that has such a depth as an like the iceberg, like deeply down. And this is how he speaks. It's like shorthand almost as he speaks. I love it. I love to discover that. So thank you, Joel, for that. Thank you. That is great. So, see, now building the expectancy of listening to this talk, it's like, oh my God. Can you imagine what's going to happen? Who knows? The earth might melt. All the rockets and whatevers that appear to be in this world seem to be melting with it too. It's like there's no use of using them any longer when you hear this. So after we listen to a little bit of music, having a short break, we continue with Joel's talk. So thank you for listening. Thank you so much.